Hi, Sudis. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim. And thank you all so much for awesome Naya. And thank you all so much for the love and support. Hope you all are great. So I came across an article yesterday, which like the source says that Trump could deport undocumented Chinese first, and Asian American groups are kind of getting ready to prepare because this deportation of a thing is actually truth. I mean, this man was not joking. And for some people that thought this is a joke, it is not a joke. He absolutely made his intentions known to everybody right from the onset before the election. So this immigration, this deportation is something that he absolutely has been emphasizing on that he was going to do. And the way it is something that immediately he gets into office, he is absolutely sending so many people back home. So if you are Chinese, the Asians, and others, I hope you all start getting ready because so that it doesn't look like it happened to you by sudden. Of course, majority of your family members voted, knowing fully well that a majority of you are undocumented. So it means that with everything, the education that has been going on TikTok and other places, you all still thought it was a joke. But as it stands, you all can see that it is going to become some people's reality real soon. We'll F around and find out. Let's get into this video.
So we told you he was going to do it, and it has begun. This is the closest thing that we are going to be living on a military dictatorship. This will be strikingly similar to many historic dictatorships run by the military that we have lived in the past 40 years. Myanmar, Argentina with the overthrowing of Peron, definitely Brazil, Chad, Central Republic of Africa, you name it. We are going to see military on the streets, sporting camo, holding AR 15s in the middle of the streets while immigrants are being deported. And I, as a Latino, I'm very uncomfortable with this. I would not consider speaking Spanish in front of any of these people on the streets, to my children or to anybody. So, to Latinos who voted for Trump, you are going to live in terror for the next 4 years. You think you won't, but trust me, you will. You better not fucking forget your ID or your passport if you are out in the United States of America, because you are going to be treated differently. They do not view you as the same. To them, it makes no difference whether you have documentation or not. You're just another illegal immigrant in a place that you don't belong, and you're going to feel it for the next 4 years. This is fucking terrifying. Que tenga buen día.
To all you brilliant Latinos for Trump, I want you to take a quick peek at this tweet up here and tell me what you think denaturalization means. You can look it up, but you shouldn't have to. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, a bunch of you are probably going to be like, they can't do that. That's unconstitutional. Tell me, who's in charge of upholding the Constitution? I'll give you a second. If you said the three branches of the government, ding, 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 you're correct. What do you think happens when you fill the presidency and those three branches with people who think like this? You did not think this through. And we're all going to pay for it. To all you brilliant Latinos for Trump, I want you to take a quick peek at this tweet up here and tell me what you think denaturalization means. You can look it up, but you shouldn't have to. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now, a bunch of you are probably going to be like, they can't do that. That's unconstitutional. Tell me, who's in charge of upholding the Constitution? I'll give you a second. If you said the three branches of the government, ding, 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 you're correct. What do you think happens when you fill the presidency and those three branches with people who think like this? You did not think this through. And we're all going to pay for it.
Evening, ma'am. To answer your question, what you get when you put people who think like that into all three branches of government is a a very large, diverse group of folks trying to make sure that the folks coming into our country and have gotten here and gotten naturalized were actually supposed to be here to start with. The program that you're speaking of, while it was by a different name, has been around for a little bit. Now, I work for the government, okay? Now, I don't work for this particular department, but the program that you're talking about started under Obama, and it was called Operation Janus. Now, it's the same program. Some call it a project, some call it an operation. Some didn't classify it at all, but it just fell under DOJ and Homeland Security. But we'd had this program for quite some time. Obama just made it its own department. And like I said, under him, it was Operation Janus. Now, when Trump came in the first time in 2016, he expanded on the program, and it, everybody thinks of it as like Trump's denaturalization project, but it really, like I said, it was already a thing, and it was its own entity when Trump just expanded onto it. Then when Biden got into office, Biden utilized it too. I mean, whether you agree with his immigration policy or not, he also utilized this program. It didn't have a name, right? It reverted back to just being under the DOJ and Homeland Security. Folks within ICE, they all kind of manage that particular department, but it's all the same program. Bar you being someone who is naturalized, who falsified your documentation, are on the terrorist watch list, or was set to be deported and you hid information like that, bar you being any of those types of people, ma'am, you have nothing to worry about, okay? This is part of our government trying to make sure that our U.S. citizens, okay, are safe. That's all this program is designed to do. I understand there's been a lot of rhetoric over the last 4 years and whatnot, but this is part of what comes with that particular job. So we can keep Americans safe, ma'am. That's all. It's nothing nefarious. Okay? Have a good night.
Operation Janus, launched during the Obama administration, was a program aimed at investigating cases where naturalization may have been obtained fraudulently. Initiated by the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, this operation focused on identifying individuals who were naturalized despite having prior deportation orders or criminal records. It primarily stemmed from a gap in fingerprint data, as early cases lacked electronic fingerprints, making it harder to track individuals with aliases or incomplete records. The purpose of Operation Janus was to improve the integrity of the naturalization process by checking approximately 315,000 naturalization cases where fingerprint data was missing. The Obama administration's involvement was mostly in setting up the initial framework to investigate these cases, which later continued and expanded under the Trump administration. In 2017, the Trump administration took it further by launching Operation Second Look, a follow-up to Janus, which involved reviewing an additional 700,000 immigration files for similar issues. Both initiatives led to increased denaturalization actions under Trump, targeting individuals who allegedly committed fraud during their naturalization process. 49 source, 50 source, 51 source. Operation Janus did not end, but evolved over time and was particularly active under the Trump administration. The current status of any direct successor to this program may depend on policy shifts and the level of focus DHS and the Department of Justice place on denaturalization cases under successive administrations. The denaturalization program under the Trump administration refers to an effort primarily through the denaturalization section within the Department of Justice, DOJ, to identify and revoke the citizenship of individuals who were found to have obtained it fraudulently or through misrepresentation. Here's a summary of the program. Background. In 2018, the Trump administration expanded efforts to scrutinize and possibly strip citizenship from naturalized Americans found to have lied or omitted information during their naturalization process. These efforts focus particularly on individuals with criminal backgrounds, suspected national security risks, and those who failed to disclose prior deportation orders or other issues that could have affected their eligibility for citizenship. Operation Janus. The Operation Janus initiative, launched earlier but ramped up under Trump, involved reviewing cases where fingerprint records were not available in digital immigration files. This led to identifying naturalized citizens who might have used multiple identities to conceal previous deportations or disqualifying information. Denaturalization. Section. DOJ. In 2020, the DOJ officially created a denaturalization section within its civil division, which was dedicated specifically to handling these cases. This section investigated cases where individuals may have obtained citizenship illegally, such as through falsified documents or undisclosed criminal histories. The U.S. government currently uses several programs and agencies to investigate and respond to naturalization and immigration fraud. Notable among these is the Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, FDNS, a division of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS. Established to identify and deter immigration fraud and threats to national security, FDNS collaborates with law enforcement and other agencies to investigate suspected fraud, screen applicants, and conduct administrative inquiries and site visits. FDNS processes thousands of cases annually, handling everything from fraud risk assessments to developing strategies to prevent and address potential abuses in the immigration process. Another program under FDNS, the Administrative Site Visit and Verification Program, ASVVP, performs inspections to validate information provided in immigration applications and identify cases for deeper investigation. This includes actions like site visits, background checks, and collecting information from open sources like social media while adhering to privacy regulations. FDNS collaborates closely with Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, which conducts criminal investigations when fraud is found that may also represent a criminal threat. Source 6090 source. The agency has also adopted various anti-fraud technologies and strategies in recent years, aiming to improve efficiency in identifying and investigating fraud risks. Although FDNS is currently the primary unit for these investigations, ICE and DACE also contribute resources and expertise to combat immigration fraud and safeguard the integrity of the U.S. immigration system.
I want to honestly cover something today, right? As we talk about mass deportation. And I think the last largest one was under Eisenhower, as somebody said, Project Wetback. And it even sent back legal citizens, just so that you know. I think they ended up deporting about 1.3 million Mexicans with the help of the Mexican government. Now, as I say that, right, Trump's number is about 20 million. And while all these people that want to get rid of immigrants really don't understand the jobs in which they do in the U.S., and one of them is to feed us, because that's what they use migrants for. And so when you do deport all these people, there's going to be jobs like getting on the top of the roof. They're going to be farming jobs, and none of us are going to have any excuse as to why you don't have a job. But I digress. That wasn't my point I was trying to make. I just went off course there for one quick minute. It is estimating of costing billions, if not trillions of dollars to round up these people, to take them to court, to house them in the meantime, to then deport them. And they're already talking about creating camps to hold these people. Do you see where I'm going with this? See where I'm going with this?
that is going to put our government into a greater deficit than it already is. It's going to take away the $100 billion that they contribute to our economy every year. And my first instinct is that I don't think these people are going to make it all the way home. That's what I think. Especially with his rhetoric so closely to Hitler's. But I digress. As at least 5.1 million legal citizens, immigrants or legal immigrants or documented immigrants, live with at least one family member that is not. I don't think these people thought this through. I don't think. The other part of that if you don't get legal status and your children are, I'm just going to go back to the last time Trump was president, and he had no problem separating 5,000 families at the border and taking their children away. Some of them who have not made it home. I'm speechless. Sometimes I listen to my own damn facts that I know, and sometimes it just hits me. It's sad. But did anybody else notice how red the United States was? And that he even won the swing states? And the only states that she won were the states that were typically hers? Are y'all not finding that odd? And the one thing different between us and them is that we're not going to storm the Capitol like a bunch of idiots and get people killed. You see what I'm saying? Has anybody noticed that? How red that board was? It wasn't even that red for Hillary. And she still won the popular vote, although she didn't win the electoral. But he won it all. And somehow I've been hearing that those numbers are not adding up. And he had Elon Musk right beside him. Could Elon Musk pull something like this off? The creator of robots, cars, spaceships. Just saying. I hope there's a Hail Mary coming, but I'm not holding out because I know how corrupt the Republican Party is at this moment. So I digress. Y'all have a great day. Just want to share that.
All right, everybody. If you have someone in your life who believes that Donald Trump is not planning to kick immigrants out of the country, not planning to do a mass immigration thing, not planning to deport, if you think that there's somebody in your life who believes that, send them this video. Washington. The incoming Trump administration's plans to implement strict border measures, strike down Biden-era policies, and kick off the detention and deportation of migrants at large scale are underway and starting to come into focus, according to 4 sources familiar with the plans. President-elect Donald Trump made immigration a central element of his 2024 campaign, but unlike his first run, which was spent largely focused upon building a border wall, he's turned his attention to interior enforcement and the removal of undocumented immigrants already in the United States. People close to the president and his aides are laying the groundwork for expanding detention facilities to fulfill his mass deportation campaign promise, including reviewing metropolitan areas where capabilities already exist. But they are also preparing executive actions that are a callback to his first term in office and could be rolled out as soon as Trump takes office, sources say. Taken together, it amounts to the return of hardline immigration policies that garnered fierce criticism from Democrats and immigrant advocates during Trump's first term, and a dramatic change for migrants and immigrants in the United States. The executive actions and reviews underway include the return of the program informally known as Remain in Mexico, which requires migrants to stay in Mexico during their immigration proceedings in the U.S., revising the asylum restrictions, revoking protections for migrants covered by Biden's humanitarian parole programs, and undoing ICE's enforcement priorities, according to 2 sources briefed on transition policy discussions. Another executive order that is being considered would make detention mandatory and call for an end to releasing the migrants, which often happens across administrations because of limited federal resources. It's that type of executive order, sources say, that would pave the way for detaining and eventually deporting people at large scale. Except they're not talking about the fact that the countries have to take them back. So this is an executive order he's talking about that forces migrants to remain in detention centers while their cases are being reviewed. Typically, they're let go after their information is taken and their biometrics and all that. They do actually scan these people. And then they let them in and they have temporary status while they're undergoing their immigration stuff. He's saying, no, we're going to put them in a prison instead. Okay, that explains why the prison stock went up 40% when Trump was elected. Yeah. Trump's team's also reviewing regional capability for housing migrants, a process likely to lead to consideration of the construction of new detention facilities. Who are they going to get to build them? Guys? Hey, migrants, if you're a construction migrant worker, maybe don't help out on those projects, yeah? Okay, just saying. A process likely to lead to consideration of the construction of new detention facilities in larger metropolitan areas, according to two sources. Homeland Security officials have previously identified multiple cities in which to build up detention capabilities in preparation for border surges. Plans also include bringing back family detention, which has been widely criticized by immigrant advocates and a practice that Joe Biden ended. The American people re-elected President Trump by a resounding margin, giving him a mandate to implement the promises he made on the campaign trail, so he will deliver. Trump-Vance transition spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt told CNN in a statement. But key to any plan is money. In the absence of additional congressional funding, people working on the plans have cited the reprogramming of agency funds to shore up resources, as previous administrations have done, but they are also evaluating a potential national emergency declaration to unlock Pentagon resources, which was done during Trump's first term and faced lawsuits, and tailoring that declaration to pave the way for expanding detention spaces, according to one of the sources. The private sector, which the federal government heavily relies upon for detention space, is also preparing to add more beds. In a recent I can't read that word. Sorry. Oh, it's a company name. There's a bunch of companies listed. Sorry. In a recent meeting between all these companies, they noted the increased need for detention capacity. Core Civic is one of the largest private prison operations in the United States. We think that the outcome of this election is probably going to be notable for ICE for a couple of reasons. One is that we do think that there's going to be increased need for detention capacity, one company told investors. The federal government also works with county jails, and the Trump term is expected to rely upon them to find additional space for undocumented immigrants. The team who will be charged with seeing that through has come into shape, including veteran immigration official Tom Homan as borders are. That's the racist motherfucker I showed you the other day who was talking about how Jews caused 9/11. Right. Immigration hardliner Stephen Miller, a known white supremacist. As Deputy Chief of Staff of Policy, and loyalist South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who shot her dog and a goat. As head of the Department of Homeland Security, Miller has previously described plans that include large staging facilities near the border to detain and deport migrants, and worksite raids, which the Biden administration discontinued in 2021. Behind the scenes, other border security officials are also involved in discussions, including ex-U.S. Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott and Michael Banks, a special advisor to Texas Governor Greg Abbott on the border, according to two of the sources. The people shaping operational plans are well-versed on immigration system, particularly Homan, who was also the architect of family separation. He's repeatedly stressed that operations will be targeted and focused on public safety and national security threats. No, in many appearances, he says he plans to get rid of everybody who's undocumented. If you doubt me, you can Google it. Current and former Homeland Security, it's because he views entering the country illegally as the illegal act that makes you a criminal. So he puts you out for that alone, and you are a criminal in his mind, and he does not treat people well. Current and former Homeland Security officials have privately argued that the selection of Homan indicates a level of seriousness by the incoming administration because of his familiarity with immigration enforcement. He also held a senior role at Immigration and Customs Enforcement during the record level of deportations under the Obama administration. In the first few days, you'll see those executive orders come out to stem the flow of migrants and impact that flow that's coming during that time. The immediate focus is all about who's already here.
So this is all I got from this video. And so for those that are thinking that the mass deportation is not going to happen, it is absolutely going to happen. And as yesterday, I checked Joy Reid's page to find and I think NEC News, where it says that as sources, Trump could deport undocumented Chinese first. Asian American group rushed to prepare. So, I mean, I don't know what it's gonna happen. I am not uh, part of the law or something, but one thing I know for sure is that this deportation is absolutely going to happen, and it's something it's been screaming on for a longer time. I saw people saying that they have contributed a lot to. There is a video that I saw, like the undocumented have contributed a lot to their economy and all that, and also that some people have been on the long-awaited list, probably waiting for their green card or something to come out. Like already that the procedure to get in the to being documented, it's kind of like it's a very long procedure, right? So probably some people may have been on it for a longer time. So they were asking what is going to happen to the person, like that it's not fair that some people had to go back the way it is now. But what I am going to say is that some of you all are kind of not okay. Why am I saying that? I am saying this because you all heard him talk about deportation, mass deportation, right? And majority of your family members that are documented still went ahead to vote for him, thinking that he is going to pardon you people for voting for him. I don't know how. I mean, some of your mentality, how you all came around about that and ended up voting for him. And the way it is, this man is not going back. So the best you all can do is to start getting yourselves ready, because anything is going to happen anytime. And I saw videos where Latinos, they are in their community and they were really, really, really stressed out. They were having a meeting looking for a way forward to navigate this period. But I don't think there is anything. If this man decides that he is deporting you all, I am not sure there is something that will stop him or anything that will make him change his mind, because you all already know that this is part of his policies, that he is taking you all away, and you all saw it and still went ahead to do it. And for the Asians, because I learned that I think is it the Korean or something, I can't remember. But I remember an Asian woman talking about the particular group that did not vote for Trump. And they happened to be Japanese, if I am not mistaken, or Korean. I can't remember, but yeah, it's also them, right? And you all better be getting ready, because this is absolutely real and it is going to happen. For some of you that think that, some said that, my culture aligns with Donald Trump's culture. According to them, they are conservative and he is also conservative. But you can see that your conservative is about to take you back to your home country. This is something that, it is very much avoidable, right? But you all thought Black people were joking as usual, or maybe it's just for our own benefit. You all effed around and found out. I see you all in my next video. Bye for now.